everyone, welcome to this update video this Wednesday morning. I trust and hope you're doing amazing today. So we're going to be looking at what is happening. We've got a new area which is highlighted in the main development region, the first disturbance really in this area since the start of the hurricane season and the year at large. So we're going to be talking about this. This is nothing new because I've been talking about it for the past couple of days. I did say that I was expecting that an area would be marked, and that is exactly what we have since last evening. We've got that tropical wave, the same one I've been mentioning for the past videos to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. That is a tropical wave that we want to watch for development as it heads to the Caribbean. So there's likely to be impacts to the eastern islands. Even if the system does not develop into a named tropical storm, there could still be impacts. Even a strong tropical wave is capable of doing quite a bit of damage. So we'll be talking about this. We'll be looking at what models have to show. And in addition, we'll be looking at Invest 94L. So that's the disturbance currently within the vicinity of the ABC Island. So that one is going to be making its way to the southern Gulf, where it could develop into something. First things first, though, we're taking a look at the satellite imagery. We've got our couple tropical waves out there, including the two that are marked. And there's been some activity around for the vicinity of the Bahamas, where there's a trough. And also in some spots in the Caribbean, we can definitely see that there has been some periods of those thunderstorms, especially around parts of Central America. And so it's been pretty active since yesterday in some spots, and it's going to be another active day today. So we're going to be looking at the rainfall forecast. Let's go on to it here from Euro, and we can see it. The more color indicates more rainfall activity. So there could be rainfall amounts up to an inch or so for parts of South Florida and a couple spots in the Bahamas, especially the northern islands. And then there could be some additional downpours and thunderstorms in parts of Cuba, Jamaica as well. Even some, flood triggering rains, maybe with some of these heavy downpours, especially in the afternoon. There could be some instances of flooding, but maybe not anything too significant. Then for the Cayman Islands, some showers will definitely be around. Same thing for Central America, with some of those robust areas of convection at times. So a lot of heavy rain is going to be possible across some areas. We're seeing that it is quite colorful, maybe up to 2 inches or so of rain at maximum. Colombia near the Pacific coast will also be active. Rainfall amounts going up to 3 inches, 3.5 inches. And then for parts of Venezuela and the Guyanas, especially the northern part of the Guyanas, could be active. Now, with that tropical wave moving by the ABC Islands, there could be a few showers loitering around. And similar story for the Lesser Antilles. Some additional showers are definitely possible up to the Virgin Islands. There may not be a whole lot of rainfall today. A few downpours wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Same thing for Puerto Rico and even parts of Hispaniola as well. So that is it in terms of the rainfall forecast. And as we head back to the National Hurricane Center's updates, here we can see that Invest 94L still given that low chance of development. That's why it is highlighted in yellow. The chance is low for now, and imminent formation is not expected. So what we've been seeing happening with this is that it gets itself together, it gets pretty robust, then it falls apart, gets robust, then falls apart. And we've been seeing this likely due to the dry air that is in the Caribbean. That's another story. So I've been talking about it. I gave you guys the forecast in yesterday's update, the morning update, and there is a lot of dust associated with the Saharan air layer making its way in. It's been blanketing the eastern islands, and today it's reaching Jamaica. So some areas may notice that very dense dust coverage across some spots, and it's going to be persistent in the Caribbean. And as I mentioned before in previous videos as well, this is nothing new for the time of year. This is when we would anticipate these massive dust plumes from Africa. So with that disturbance, it's going to be struggling to get itself together because it's not in the most ideal conditions right now. So we're going to see it, as I said, it gets robust, falls apart, robust, falls apart. That's been happening a lot. It's kind of getting itself back together now, because last night it was looking absolutely horrible, but now it is trying to get itself together yet again. So once it reaches that shaded yellow spot in the Northwest Caribbean, and once it crosses over Mexico into the southern Gulf, it may actually try to make a run for development before it moves inland. And one of the biggest inhibiting factors at that point would likely be the land interaction. So if it is not going to be loitering over water for long enough, then it may not actually develop. However, regardless, it's likely to bring along with it a rainfall threat. So that is impending for Central America. Okay, now we're heading to our main development region disturbance south of Cape Verde. So There we can see low chance of development as well, and that is merely because it is newly identified. So we don't typically get a newly identified system with a high chance. It is when, it looks as though we may see some development. That's when the National Hurricane Center would mark it. And then once that confidence continues to increase or persist, then the chance gradually increases as well. So imminent formation is not expected of this tropical wave. However, as it makes its way toward the west, when it's going to be maybe around midway between the Lesser Antilles and the coast of Africa, thereabout, that is when it could try harden to get itself together. And as it approaches the Caribbean, it's going to be on a general westward trajectory because there's going to be a strong area of high pressure. So that is the steering mechanism for the system. So with these areas of high pressure, winds rotate clockwise. So eventually we find that they're going to be pushing these systems generally to the west. And once it approaches the Caribbean islands, we know the story goes. We're going to be having the increase in rainfall, the strong winds, the storm surge as well. And the magnitude would depend on the intensity of the system at the time. But point being, models have been showing development. The GFS model, the latest run for this morning, last night into this morning, is showing that there could be a strong tropical storm, potentially a hurricane. And I wouldn't say a hurricane just yet. Let's see how things play out over the course of the coming days. Let's see how the system actually takes advantage of any conducive conditions that will present themselves to it so that it can develop and intensify. Let's see how that goes. I wouldn't be calling this a hurricane right now because there's still a lot of dry air around and the upper level winds may not be conducive at all times. So when the upper level winds are stronger, that creates a more hostile environment, thus limiting development of the system. But if conditions are perfectly ideal, we're talking very warm waters, upper level winds being conducive, as well as a very moist environment. Oh yes, definitely poised for intensification and even rapid intensification. That is something that happens a lot, especially in the heart of the hurricane season. But as I said, for now, I'm not going to say that this will become a hurricane. It could, but I don't give that much of a decent chance right now. I think the probabilities would favor more of a tropical depression or even a tropical storm. So let's see how it progresses over the course of the coming days. Right now, a low chance of development, but heads up, Eastern Islands, the Lesser Antilles, even for Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, I would say to keep watch as well, because there could be so much, and the models are kind of iffy on the track of it. Some of the ensembles, for example, let's switch to that. The ensembles for Euro, we can see that some of these want to take the system curving up and out. Many of these as well want to take it moving in. So there is no solid track because it is so far out right now. So to say this is exactly where it's going to go, we can't say that right now. We don't know. It's going to take time for us to really get a clear picture of what is ahead. But a stronger area of high pressure means a system that would move more to the west. As we head on to the GFS ensemble members, we can see that quite a few of them expect that the system is going to be moving into the Caribbean, and a couple want to take it curving up and out to sea as well. And in addition, another tropical wave that will be following behind this one may try to follow in its footsteps and get itself together as well. Who knows? So there have been models hinting at that as well, and that is not a guarantee either, but it's certainly a possibility. And provided the above average sea surface temperatures and once other environmental conditions are favorable enough, it's not at all out of the question. But I'm here to keep you guys posted, as I always do on a daily basis. So that is what I wanted to share with you in this update video. We've got 2 disturbances out there, Invest 94L, so that's the area of investigation, hence the name, in the Eastern Caribbean that is going to be moving to the west-northwest, which may try to develop. Then we've got our new tropical wave that is marked, and that may develop as it approaches the Caribbean, and there will be impacts as we head into next week. So I'll be keeping you posted on it, and that's it for right now. So I hope you found this update to be quite informative. However, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.